Okay.
And we felt it necessary then to get a more firm diagnosis of what was going on.
Are you ready to get back in the groove, Shirley?
Yes.
Did you miss the 2 weeks like I did?
I sure did. I've been recording my daily journal.
Wonderful.
So I just need to start posting, because when I went out there, I didn't see any journal entries. Everybody was excited about the GoPro.
Right.
I said, well, maybe we'll start back journaling back in the grad Facebook page.
Yes. Yeah, and we need to do it in the graduate, but also we need to work on the commenting of helping everybody,
Yeah, I've been doing that little by little, yeah.
Yeah. And now it's time of year is always tough because we've got so many things happening so fast. But I can't wait for the contact mapping app to come together. And I've been using the Trello for now, but Marianne had told me about something else that we're going to be doing too that's going to work parlay with the contact mapping app. And I'm very, very excited about that. So that's soon to come. So I'm very, very excited about all that. And that's what I really need. I mean, honestly, Shirley, that's for me, it's the follow-up. It's, that's my weak point. I think it's everybody's.
And
I'm really great with, excuse me, with the communication with people from the get-go. And I'm great with even following up with them to see how they are and that kind of a thing. But really following up and nailing them into what they need without it being a nailing them into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Tom is trying to say to us is that what is it that we need to do to ramp it up to that next level,
Mm-hmm.
Forgive me if I have to keep muting out with this cough. I'm going to go as much as I can. It's a pretty quick chapter. I'm hoping that we can do it pretty well simply without me gagging too much with this silly bug that I caught in Vegas. Yeah. I actually think I brought it. I had gone for some blood work, which I was very happy to get the results for. My blood work was fabulous. My doctor said if this were my blood work, I'd hang it on my fridge like a kid's report. So I've got that going for me. And I said, well, that's interesting considering I haven't been this sick in about 5 years, I accidentally muted you instead of me, but you're unmuted again. And we have someone else from the 301 area code. So welcome. We're glad to have you here. And we've got a few more minutes to let people get on and get started. I'm going in here to 65 and a wake up. Okay. I'll just make a little note. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving, Shirley? Did I mute you out? Oh, yep. I'm sorry, Shirley. I had you muted again. Forgive me.
Yes, I did. It was very quiet, nice and quiet.
It was? What did you do?
We have a place down in Virginia, so my husband, grandson, and I went down there and just sat and relaxed.
Oh, how lovely. That's wonderful. Now, do you guys have children?
Yes, I have one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's 45.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. And where is she?
She lives here in Baltimore.
Oh, very nice. Does she have any kids?
She has two, a 25 and a 4-year-old.
Oh my goodness, that's quite a spread. I thought I was bad. I have a 27-year-old and a 17-year-old, but we've got 4 boys total.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, bless her heart. 45, and he how old is the little one? 4?
4.
Oh, bless her heart. I'll tell you what. I'll put a special prayer out for her. And now what they're boys, girls? What does she have?
2 boys.
2 boys. Okay. Well, God bless her. I'll tell you what. I don't know. My youngest was born when I was let's think, just 35. And yeah, that was late enough for me. That was it. How about done with that? Well, I'm glad that you had a very restful Thanksgiving. That's always a lovely thing to do. I'm glad for you.
Yeah. How was yours?
Oh, it was good. Thank you for asking. We went to my sister's, and my other sister came, and my mother came, and my stepmother was there. We have a very interesting family. And 3 of our 4 boys were with us. And one son is married, the other one is engaged, and then our youngest is in high school, but going to college while he's in high school, which is fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that was nice. I actually did the turkey and the stuffing. Yeah, I was bad. It was, gluten was present in our Thanksgiving. So, yeah, but I did all the old-fashioned traditional stuff that my mother had done, and so I did that, and that probably wore me out a little bit as well. Aside from the traveling in Vegas and all that stuff, that was really awesome. So, Nancy, how are you? Ooh, there you are. You're unmuted.
Hello. Well, I'm doing well, and I'm just blown away because I just got off of the Rev 90 call.
Yes.
And because of the holiday and stuff, they do drawings every week.
Mm-hmm.
And my name so they did 2 weeks drawings tonight.
Okay.
And I got drawn for both weeks.
So what did you get?
So my name will go into the pot for the big monthly draw for gifts. I mean, they divide it between $1,500 worth of, I guess they're gift cards. I don't know. I hadn't got any yet. So.
Oh, how wonderful.
But I couldn't believe it. She was like, "Oh, there's Nancy Modlin again." And I was like, "Oh." So I thought, well, maybe it was just a mistake. But she posted it that I was a 2-time winner. So.
Hey, that's really awesome. I've won a lot of perks and special prizes and stuff, and they're always appreciated. And so that's terrific.
Exciting. I know that is exciting.
Yeah, that is. Well, congratulations. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
We did. And I did, I don't know if you'd seen it, Juliet had posted, and actually I saw it on somebody else's, I believe, but I saw that Juliet had posted it as well. And I made cauliflower stuffing.
Oh, how lovely.
You use the same spices, the same thing with your celery, onions, and saute in butter, whatever. And you start with it. Instead of putting bread in, you put chopped cauliflower in.
Wow.
And it's delicious. Tastes just like stuffing.
Well, I do mashed cauliflower all the time as a replacement for mashed potatoes.
I know. So this was like, guilt-free stuffing.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for that, because now I'll have to try it. And it would be the same amount of the cups that you would for if it were stuffing?
Yeah, I don't measure. I just put in.
I see. You know what? I have this beautiful cookbook that my grandmother made for me the year before I got married back in 1988 or 89. And it's family recipes. And she typed it by hand back with a typewriter. And she said it's like little love notes in there from her. And she'll say, honey, my mother never measured and my grandmother never measured, and this is how we did it, and you'll just have to figure it out on your own. So she used to be like, you measure your hand this much. That's how she did it.
I watched my mom make stuffing forever. So it was like, it's a dab of this and a dab of that and whatever. So it's basically, there is a recipe for it. You can go on Pinterest and look up cauliflower stuffing. Cool. But I just basically you just do the same exact thing, except for instead of the toast or the bread, you use cauliflower.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And Melissa, I saw that you were here, but I didn't get to talk with you. You started to say hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It looks like you have your Christmas tree up.
I do.
Oh, that's so beautiful. We don't have
Thank
ours up
you.
yet, but how lovely. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good.
Good.
It was really, really good.
What'd you do? Where did you go?
My folks, parents live in the same town that I do in Oklahoma, and we went to their house. Instead of doing turkey, we did steak and shrimp. My brother owns an oil field company, and he brought shrimp back from Louisiana. So we kind of did a shrimp bowl, kind of.
Oh,
Yep,
I love
good.
that. Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Good.
It was good.
How
So,
many people did you
yeah.
have?
Let's see. It was small. There was only 6 of us, I think.
Oh, that's not so bad. That's not so bad.
So
We had
nice.
16, so that was good. It wasn't too bad. I've had growing up. My mom had my stepfather's family, and he has 8 brothers and sisters, so we could have like 40 people at a time, and that was every Thanksgiving that my mother did. And so I shouldn't complain because 16 was nice. It was like a nice group of people, but 6 is very comfy. That's cute.
Yeah.
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 Good.
So.
Well, I'm glad. Well, it's good to see you. I missed you guys.
You too. I missed you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
How was GoPro?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Were you on the Zoom with us last Tuesday?
Oh, no. They started that before. It starts at my time, 5:30, and I don't get off work till 6.
Oh, you have to go look at the recording.
So I'll have
for
to
it.
go. Yeah, I'll have to do the recording.
Yeah, and it was, oh my gosh, it was incredible. I mean, to go from hearing so many great leaders in the industry and then to have people like Pitbull was just outrageous. First of all, the level of humility that I heard from the stage from these people, they were just so soft-spoken. Everyone was coming from their heart. They were not holier than thou, where it was like, we were where you guys are now, and we want you to be up in the front in the VIP, and we want you to be up on stage. It was really all about everyone. It wasn't about selfishness of people being on stage. It was really beautiful. I mean, it was a tear-jerking kind of a thing for a lot of it. A lot of emotional stuff coming out because whenever you're going there and you're having all this personal development, you can't help but grow emotionally, personally. We're there for professional development, but there's a lot of personal growth that happens with it. And there was this psychologist by the name of Elliot Rowe. And, excuse me, did we lose you, Melissa? Where did you go? We had Elliot Rowe, who was a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, and he was incredible to listen to him talk about the things that hold us back, the things that we have from our past that give us those problems. That's that guy that Tom talks about that sits on her shoulder that we need to punch in the nose, that kind of a thing. So that was fascinating. And Tony Robbins, of course, was equally incredible. I mean, I've never seen him speak live. I actually have never really read a lot of his work. I've heard of him from many people who recommend him highly, but the powerfulness that he created in that room of doing, excuse me, role playing in the audience of 10,000 people, if you can imagine people role playing with each other and communicating and connecting with each other on a deep level, and then learning how to not present yourself and learning how, welcome back, and we lost you for a minute there.
I lost you guys.
Yeah, and I'm talking about Tony Robbins, who I'd never seen live. He was incredible. What he did is, with a group of 10,000 people in the audience, he was able to do this work of interacting, role-playing with each other. And physically, we were up for almost the entire, 3 or 4 hours that he was on stage. He did not flinch, and he told us at one point that he had just had surgery. He had mercury poisoning, so I think it was like a dental surgery or procedure that he had done, and he had mercury poisoning, and he was throwing up before he came out on stage, and he was incredible. And he said, but I had to bring it. I made this commitment to you, and I thought about that. And like with me with this, and I'm like, I made a commitment. I need to be there. And so I'm going to give my all and give my best. But you work through it. There's a lot of times when we have to work through the pain, where there are personal things that go on. And we'll talk about part of that in this chapter that I think are so fascinating, about the excuses that people make and how we need to not use those excuses to allow ourselves to procrastinate away from success. So with that, let's kind of get ourselves, I'm going to mute everybody. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Last time we were together, we talked about Chapter 9, Skill 6, helping your new distributor get started right. And this week, we're covering Chapter 10, which is Skill 7, promoting events, of course, in Eric Worre's Go Pro. And we're tossing around the ideas for some books for our next book study. And so there are a couple things that we have in mind, but I was kind of talking about it on the Zoom last Tuesday, and there was one that, let me tell you what it is. Is it Donald Miller? But it's about branding yourself. And the reason that this is so critical is that we need to create an image of ourselves, a brand of ourselves, because people are going to join us. Yeah, yes, there is longevity, and yes, we have these incredible teams together, but we need to create a brand of ourselves. It's Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand, Clarify Your Message so Customers Will Listen. And so I'm kind of thinking that's where we'll go. There's a possibility we could do Jordan Adler's Beach Money, which is a fun book study that I've done before as well. So we can just keep going and finding new opportunities for growth for us. Oh, excuse me. Okay, kids. So going into Skill 7, promoting events, and what better way to talk about this other than having come back from such an incredible industry event. It was just fabulous. Eric Worre tells us that in network marketing, meetings make money. Right? That's his first line coming out. It's just that simple. Technology can help us connect with people in ways that are becoming more and more efficient, but nothing replaces that face-to-face interaction, right? It's like if you have an old friend, you can talk on the phone and things, years vanish or months vanish and time, distance changes. But when you get to see them in person, there's a different level of connectivity that happens when you're face to face with somebody. And that's why these one-on-one meetings, and when we talk about meetings, they could be something as simple as a one-on-one in a coffee shop, right? When we talk about the coffee shop interview, but it's connecting with people on a more intimate level, because as we're doing this relationship marketing, we want to get closer and closer with people. And a lot of times technology creates a very perceptible distance. And when that happens, it gives people an easier out, an easier way to say no to whatever it is that you're promoting to them. And we want to create an environment of yes, an environment of love and acceptance. And so they're feeling that love coming from you. And so therefore they want more of that. They want to have more of that. It's kind of like, you have someone that you're attracted to, that you want to spend time with, and when you get to know somebody, you want to get to know them on a very deeper level. You could say the same thing about your walk with God. So you want to be very much closer. You want to read the Bible. You want to be in prayer. You want to do the things that are going to help you to create that better relationship. And it's that intimacy that builds a strength and longevity in your business. So excuse me, meeting people one-on-one in small groups or at local or bigger events will have a huge impact on the long-term success of any network marketing organization. And the one that is the most powerful is a destination event. And destination events can be at a nearby big city where we have leadership coming in to speak. It could be a regional event. It could be like our Dallas annual convention. It could be like GoPro in Las Vegas, because there's something special about being out of your normal element, being in a place that is very interesting and different, and allowing you to be separated from the things that might distract you on a normal basis, and being with people that have a similar mindset as you do to kind of replenish and rebuild, right? So most of the attendees in these destination events travel to a different city, stay at a hotel, and participate in a conference or a convention. And some people will say they don't do them anymore because technology doesn't mean that you have to do it. We have the beauty of the technology here where we can connect and see each other and speak with each other on this Zoom, which is fabulous, but nothing beats getting together like we did in Dallas, for example, where there were people that I have gotten to know in the Zoom room and got to see them in person. And even, for example, Laney Sharp. So she was a person that, oh my gosh, when I saw her for the first time in Dallas, I just ran up to her because I felt like I knew her, and to physically wrap my arms around her was so amazing. And she, by the way, is one of the best huggers in the world. So if you have a chance to spend time with Lanny, hug her as much as you can, because she's a beloved person in my book. And so what excuse me, what Eric says is, all I can tell you is those people who say they don't need to go aren't the top earners in the profession. And all of them use destination events as a cornerstone for building their business. There's something magical about getting away, like I said, from that day-to-day grind and focusing just on your dreams. You know, this is so great. It's kind of like a vacation, but it's a working vacation, but it's personal development. And it's, like I said, sharing stuff with the people that you may not get to see on an all the time basis. You get to refocus and recommit to your future and gather the strength necessary to go back home and do what's necessary to move your business forward. So you get out of your element. There may be sacrifice, right? There may be a financial impact. There may be, you have to worry about your kids, how they're being watched. You have to worry about if you have a regular job that you need to acquire for, or other things, responsibilities that you have. But to make those sacrifices and to make those concessions to invest in yourself and invest in your business is proven, and we'll go forward to talk about that. It's proven to build your business, to build your belief system, and that's how you're going to be able to grow. So you gain strength from the presentations you hear. Sometimes a person says something at just, the right time in your life, and it changes you forever. That's how I kind of felt. Hold on. That's how I kind of felt with Tony Robbins and with Elliot Rowe. These are moments where you're sitting in a chair and it's the kind of thing in a room of 10,000 people, and it's as if they're speaking directly to you. And I'm not going to sing now because my singing voice at this particular point is not that great. But if you ever heard the Carly Simon song, You're So Vain, you probably think this song is about you, right? As she goes in and sings this whole song, and the story goes it's about Warren Beatty, but she sings this whole song and it's like she's singing directly to him. And then there's another song, Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack, where you hear she was singing right into me. It was as if I was the only person, and they knew, they were reading my mind. They could tell my thoughts and know what was exactly going on. That's the kind of thing that you come away from with these destination events. And now here's something really interesting. A fellow named Johnny Daniels taught Eric, you can tell the size of a man by the size of the problem that gets him down. Okay. I've got this nagging cough, but it's not going to get me down. I'm going to keep doing the things I need to do. I may not be able to make all the calls that I like to do because my voice is kind of messed up, but it's not going to take away my drive or my passion. There are some people that you might meet that will come into a circumstance, and the smallest thing will destroy their world. And it just tells you about the fragile nature of their emotional portion of themselves. And that's what we need to be as leaders listening to as we're talking to people on our team and trying to help them to grow, because you'll catch on to little things, innuendos that are said, and it'll kind of trigger something in your mind. And as we're coffee shop interviewing people on a daily basis, whether or not they are already in our team, is something we need to be doing all the time. So just because somebody has come in doesn't mean the coffee shop interview ends. You're continuing to connect with them and get with them on a deeper level and understand what's going inside, because we want to help them to be able to overcome those obstacles of those problems that come into play. So Eric went on to say that that went right into his heart. And I would say that that does for me too. Hey, Colleen. Hi, honey bun. He said if he ever gets sad, depressed, or something inside him says, is this the size of Eric? And he answers, no. Picks myself up and get moving again. So it's the whole point of, no, I'm bigger than this. And I can say that I've been there, that I've had people on my team that are there, that they are bigger than whatever that is, because those things are those little guys sitting on their shoulder, and we're way bigger than that little guy. We can just flick them off and say goodbye. Yes, I love that Johnny quote too. So I love that. So no, is it? So stop and think when those things get in your way. Is it bigger than you? And you know, and pick yourself up by the trousers or by the shoulders, whatever it takes. So he said he's had hundreds of those moments over the years at destination events, of those incredible moments, of those things of people speaking right to you. And he said, I gave up blaming at an event. I decided to become a professional at an event. I realized no one could stop me at an event. I decided to go to the top at an event. In fact, as I think back, I can't think of a single significant moment in my network marketing career that didn't happen at an event. They are that powerful. Bam. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Whatever you can do. And if you're going through the 65 and a wake up and you're working toward that graduation point, and the next goal is the women's event in April, which is Colleen will be going to. Yay! And that's going to be incredible. And all the women that were there at GoPro said, oh my gosh, if you think this is incredible, wait till you see the women's event, because it's smaller, it's more intimate, it's more focused on that power of women. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Excuse me. So you're gaining the strength. And by the way, what we have at these events is something called social proof. As human beings, we're wired to seek proof from sources outside of our own thoughts and experiences. At a destination event, you see lots of other people who've made the same decision you have, and that feels good, right? Also, you see how some of them have overcome their fears and gone to the highest level in your company, and you start to think, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too. Okay. And that's huge. That's so huge. And how many of us have seen people where they're going to find their truth, right? No matter what, even if that truth is a lie, we know it to be a lie, but in their minds, it's so real that it's become a truth for them. So how many of us have had to deal with a negative Nelly, right? And had to deal with somebody on a crazy train, right? And they're going to keep looking for stuff until they find it and say, see, I told you, that's the way it was going to be. And and so you deal with that all the time, right? And so Colleen's laughing because she knows what I'm talking about. And so we know that this stuff happens, but you have to find your own truth and being committed to your success and knowing that this can happen if you're in the right environment, if you have the right people surrounding you and supporting you, if you have the positive input and the belief system secure in your mind and in your heart that you know that you can do this. Okay, so positive peer pressure, he goes on to say. Recognition programs. Who won a contest? Like Nancy just won 2, and now she gets a drawing into a bigger contest, right? So who moved to the next rank? Who earned the top income? Who spoke from the stage? And I said earlier, as we started talking, that one of the things that I was impressed by was that all of the speakers were talking to all of us as future stage talkers, okay? They were saying, we were you, and I believed enough to be able to move up and move forward, to be here. And I'm no better than you are because I came from the exact same place that you did. Outstanding. That's what we need to see, is real people finding real success and relating to us on a real level. And that's what was present at GoPro. And I think a lot of that had to do with that no recruiting zone concept, because it was, instead of people were competing with each other, it was all about sharing the goodness and the benefit. And that's what will be at the ladies' event as well. So when he went to his first event and saw the people walking across stage, he had one thought: next time I'll be walking across that stage. And that's one thing I got to do in Dallas, was be able to walk across the stage as a Circle of Honor recipient. And that feeling of being up there and being hugged by Doc and being hugged by Michelle and Steve, and being able to wrap my arms around them and say in person, I love you and I appreciate you and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that you've given me. And to be there and to stand there as a part of this family, this team, was absolutely incredible. And so it's something that everyone should get to experience. And it just feels so good. And all of us who get there want to share that feeling with everyone else, because we know what the difference is. And Dr. Luis Ariaza, when he tells his story about how, what is it now, 4 or 5 years ago, where he was flat broke, they were losing their home, losing their cars, they had nothing, they were in the back of the room and there were 3 of them together and that was it. Look at what the Spartan Nation is today. When you think about that and you think about there is no plan B, there's no other option. I have to do this. I need to do this to support my family. I need to do this for my future, for my retirement, whatever it is. If you have that conviction, there's nothing that can stop you, because we will support you to get you to where you need to be. So, excuse me. So it was inspiring that so many people had accomplished what I hadn't done yet. So that's another reason for going to these events, right? You're seeing that and going, oh, that's what I want. I want to aspire to be one of those people. And it made him think that he could do it, and it made him work on a plan to make it happen, right? What does Tom always say? Plan, do, review, right? So when you come away from one of these events, you need to create a plan for what you can expect. And by the way, Eric did this incredible kind of a meditation thing with us at the very end, where we closed our eyes and he talked about what the possibilities could be for the future. And he talked first about, what will this be? Will this be, God bless you, Nancy, will this be a time where you're going to, hey, Hanny, will this be a time where you're going to go home and forget everything? You're going to put your books on your shelf. And will it be, well, it's Thanksgiving is coming and I can't do it then. Well, then there's Christmas and then there's New Year's and I'll get things done then. And then pretty soon time goes by and the kids are in school and the summer comes and all of a sudden it's been a year and you've done nothing. Wow. You could have heard a pin drop in that room. And then he said, or are you going to plan your future? Are you going to sit down and create your dreams, put them on paper, know what it takes? That was my biggest takeaway, was, okay, I'm very good at keeping track of my business and knowing what's happening historically, literally day by day, month by month, year by year. I can look back on a spreadsheet and see exactly what happened. But you know what that does? That compares today to the past. What I needed to do and hear from Eric is, you need to create a plan for the future. So how do you do that? You need to say, this is what I need to be doing. So he said, imagine in your minds what it is that you would like to be earning. What would the amount be that you would like to be? Write it down. And he had us all write it down. And then he said, double that. And we all were like, what? Like, this was like my dream. And then you are telling me that I'm thinking too small, that I need to double that? Oh my goodness, that was remarkable. And so it made me think of the old saying, if you reach for the stars, you might catch a cloud, right? And so if you set your goals too short, then you're never going to be able to aspire to them fully. If you go beyond and look farther beyond that, then you have a better likelihood of hitting that goal and even doing better, right? And so what more positive expectation could you have than that? It's kind of like when my son Gunnar was taking Taekwondo, and when he would have to kick the board or hit the board to break it. And the idea was you have to go through the board. You can't aim for the board. You have to go through the board to break it. And I thought, that's the whole point. I'm not setting those boundaries for what I need to do. And then when you do it, we can statistically look back and say, in order to acquire this level, these are the activities you need to do, because we know statistically speaking that this is the percentage of success that will come from this much activity. And so if you want to get there and you do this much work, but you only get this much, then that tells you how much you need to do. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that help? Okay. So we have to have a plan. So plan, do, review. I want that to be like our mantra. Plan, do, review all the time, because you plan it, you do it, and the review part is looking back and seeing what works, what didn't, modify it, and that's the planning part again, and then you do it and you review it. So it's this kind of cyclical thing that you're constantly going to be in a position of plan, do, review. So, excuse me. Okay. So the positive peer pressure helps face your fears and make it happen. So seeing other people on the stage and going, oh my goodness, I met that person here last year, and I met them and I didn't really think they were that bright, or they were that this, or they were whatever superlatives you want to put on somebody of judgment, which we never should do anyway. But if you see something and you go, oh my gosh, that I remember them, and now they're doing this. What am I doing that I need to be doing this? This is doable. I can see somebody is a real person and they're doing this. One of the things that I thought was quite remarkable was there was a mother and a daughter that we saw, and I believe they were during Denise's presentation in Dallas, and the daughter was 12, right, Colleen? She was 12, I think, and she was making a fortune for her mother from the age of 7 because her mother had some health issues. And so her daughter was doing all this work. A 7-year-old, goodness gracious, a 7-year-old can do this. And we look at Emily. Emily was the most amazing salesperson that there was for any of the jewelry at the Dallas convention. And because she doesn't think about it. Kids don't have the same hangups that we do. They're not caught up. They don't have that guy on their shoulder yet. They're beyond that. They're like so far ahead of us. It's ridiculous. And so we don't give them the credence that they deserve for their abilities. And Colleen, if you'd like to pop in, I'd love to hear a little bit about that, about your experience for yourself when you saw Emily being so successful.
Well, first of all, their minds are limitlessness. They have a beyond the atmosphere vision, and it's so awesome because, with longevity, we have so much, and to her, she's jumping in a pile of leaves with it. She's really enjoys everything, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday. We're going to be setting up again, and just when I see her, how she gets people intrigued into our table, she'll be like, hi, do you have any pets? She tries to find something that she's passionate about to be able to get them to come towards us. And I actually learn more from her. I've done other, selling things, but I've learned from her what she, has to offer, and helps me push it out there. So I'm very happy with that.
Thank you. I love it. And I'm just so thankful to see that beautiful growth in you, and to see this relationship that you and she and Keith are forging together with this plan of the future for all of you, and the selflessness that you do with the intent to help others, whether they be people or pets. And so I'm just so grateful to be a witness to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, now I see, what did Nancy say? Just what Paul Croto was going over on Star School, he adds a fourth word, dream plan, do, review. Oh, beautiful. Always good to be reminded repeatedly. Absolutely. Yes. And I unmuted you, Nancy. The dream part, tell us a little bit about, go a little bit deeper with that.
Well, it's just putting a word to what you were just saying. I mean, you, like Eric was just saying, you know, put down what your goal, what your dream is, 10,000 a month or whatever, and then double it. So it's just, again, I mean, that's part of the Star School thing that Paul at convention and wherever they go, Paul and Cheryl, that, you know, dream and then double your dreams kind of thing, so that you're not putting limitations on your own self.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, oh, here's the other thing too. Positive peer pressure about this. I didn't want to show up at the next event without some improvement in my business. So there's a little pride, right, that goes on. There's nothing wrong with that little competitive edge between friends, right? That positive peer pressure helped me face my fears and make it happen. Excuse me. Overall, the sense of community at a destination event is comforting. We all live in a world filled with ignorant people when it comes to network marketing, right? That can get very discouraging at times, but when we go to a big event, suddenly we're surrounded by people who think like we think. They have similar beliefs, hopes, and dreams, aspirations, and positive attitudes. Spending time with this amazing group of people can literally fill us back up again, so we have strength for the next push. Once you understand how important destination events are to the success of your business, you need to learn how to effectively promote them. But he says it's really very simple. The more people from your group attend events, excuse me, the more money you're going to make in our profession. Imagine that. The more people you bring, the more money you're going to make, because all those people are going to have the same experience. They're going to be filled up with all that joy and excitement and camaraderie and knowledge and understanding and positive growth and excitement. So when they go home, they're going to work hard and work on their business, and that's going to help you, right? So creating that team effort and coming together and doing more is only going to make a better thing for you. So he will go into, and we'll talk about this, about how you get to them, because sometimes it is a financial burden. It can be. And I love when we come to the time when we do Jordan Adler's Beach Money and he talks about what he did, you'll hear Eric say the same thing. Eric lives in this phenomenal house in Vegas now, where it's just absolutely incredible. This car that he gave away. Oh my gosh, by the way, the car that they had, which was an Audi, what is it, an A8? A beautiful red car that they gave away as a raffle. It was $100 a ticket. And this one older lady won, who bought one ticket. They raised thousands and thousands of dollars for Vegas Strong, for the people, the families that were affected by the horrible shooting that happened just shortly before the event had occurred. And so they were raising this great cause. And this woman had to worry about driving her car back to, I think, what was it, Columbus, Ohio or something. She had to worry about getting it home, because Eric had said, the only thing is, it's up to you. We're not shipping it anywhere. You have to get it home. And so she was adorable. And she happened to be wearing a bright red top. She was so cute. And it was almost like she didn't even really believe it, but it happened. It was adorable. So when you go, you're developing, excuse me, first you want to develop a culture that promotes attendance at destination events, and you're personally being more committed than anyone else to attending and helping others make the same decision. This means you need to lead by example and never miss a destination event. And that's tough, because that's hard. It's hard when it's across the country. It's hard when it's a flight. It's hard when there's all these different expenses that come into play. But how bad do you want it? And how bad do you want to see a change in your life? So Eric goes on to say, during one of the sessions, I stepped out to go to the bathroom. When I came back to the entrance to the big convention hall, I found myself standing next to one of the top income earners in the whole company. It was like standing next to a celebrity. He had achieved what I wanted to achieve and more. I stood there trying to think of something smart to say. Finally, I simply introduced myself and asked, "What's the secret?" And today he said, "I know there isn't a secret." But what this fellow did say to him is, "Do you see this room? It has like 2,000 people. And we have these events 3 times a year." He said, "Here's the secret. At the next event, half of these people won't come back. But the other half that does will be making about twice the average of everyone else in the room. Your job is to be in the 1,000 people who come back, and it doesn't stop there. At the next event, half of those 1,000 won't come back, but the 500 who do will be making 4 times the amount of the average in the room. This continues from event to event to event, and if you continue to come back, you'll end up being amongst the highest paid people in the room, and eventually you'll even find yourself presenting on stage," right? The only failure that doesn't lead to success is the one that makes you stop. So you need to keep going, keep going, keep going, no matter what. Never give up, because you don't know the next interaction you might find is going to be the one that could dramatically change your business and dramatically change your life. Look at what contact mapping has done, what Tom Chenault was talking about on the Hair on Fire call this morning, and as well on the One Star call, where he talked about this gal that he was trying to figure out how to bring together Brene Brown to come and speak about addictive heroin addiction, opioid addiction, to come to Colorado and speak about that. And anybody said, "Does anybody know a connection with them?" Well, he went through his list, and because he had done this contact mapping, came up with somebody to find out this one person by, there's no such thing as coincidence. I believe that it's all a God, divine circumstance when we connect with other people. But he said, who would have thought that after we'd had this great conversation of trying to figure this out, that this one particular person that I talked to was the one who happened to go to school for this entrepreneurship and actually worked closely with Brene Brown and was going to be able, welcome Charles, and would be able to bring her in and connect with her and get them to be connected together to have a better relationship with her. Bam. This is what the contact mapping is all about. You have no idea who the next person is, that what they might have for you, whether or not it's with them, or whether it might be a referral, or whether or not somebody might have a connection that would be somebody to come in and make that change for you. I have logged in from another device. Messenger, that's interesting. Can you guys still hear me? Yes? Okay. That's interesting. I don't know what that means. Okay. All right. If anything changes, send me a text, Colleen, if there's something that happens that you cannot hear or see me, okay? You let me know, or send me an IM. Thank you. Okay. So, excuse me. So Eric says, "That's it? That's the secret?" And he replied, "Eric, obviously you're not going to have to continue to work. You're obviously going to have to continue to work on your skills between events." And he said, "If you outlast people at our big events, you will make it to the top." And he said it wasn't easy. Sometimes the event tickets alone were the cost, right? These tickets, thank you, honey. These tickets to go pro could cost anywhere up to $700, right? And if you upgraded, it was even more. When you think about that, think about the accommodations, right? And Eric said that he made a priority and found a way to buy them. Sometimes childcare is an issue. How to get to the event, right? You might have to take a flight. You might have to take a flight that's going to go to 2 or 3 different cities before you get there with more connections to get a cheaper distance flight. You could drive and pile into one vehicle with a group of people. And he said there was a time he even reserved a bus. He made it a priority, and he made it to the event no matter what. And then he goes on to say, "I often shared a room with as many people as possible. Instead of room service, we would go to the local grocery store and get food." I did this in Dallas. I shared a room with Pat Orr. It actually was the first time I met Pat Orr in person, and she became a great friend after that point. She she and I share a common friend, and we both wanted to have a roommate to be together with somebody that we would feel comfortable with, because sometimes you don't know somebody, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And we both we talked to each other over the phone. We came together. And then I had friends that happened to be driving in Texas visiting family on the way to the event. They took me to Whole Foods, and I picked up stuff to have in the hotel fridge. And so I had brought chia. I brought, I think, 2 or 3 different kinds of shakes. I brought brought all my supplements, of course. And I had my stick packs for drinks, and I had all the stuff so that I knew that I would be at least covered for breakfast and lunch, and then possibly even a dinner. So when I went to the store, I brought organic goat milk kefir, and I brought fresh berries, and we put all this stuff into the little fridge. And so if we came back for a break in between sessions, we would have a little snack of that. Oh, I bought dried dates, stuff like that. Nuts. I had nuts. I had all different kinds of nuts. So we always had healthy snacks that would give us energy. Can I repeat that quote, please? Which quote? Which one? Which one, Nancy? Hang on. Go ahead.
Something about the only failure or something is the one that doesn't make you stop.
Oh, the only failure that doesn't lead to success is the one that makes you stop. And I believe that comes from Thomas Edison.
Okay, the only failure that doesn't
lead to success is the one that makes you stop. I'll type it in here. So,
thank you.
Yeah. The only failure that doesn't lead to success is the one that makes you stop. So what it basically saying is that we're going to have failures. We're going to have circumstances where there are problems, that we make mistakes. But as long as you don't quit, never quit. Because like we were saying earlier, you never know who that next person is going to be. So you're gonna be thoughtful in what you did. Like I just went to GoPro. I got the ticket for free because I won it, right? I stayed with a friend at her timeshare, which cost us nothing. We talked about it in Dallas. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go because I will just come from Dallas. And I don't know if I can afford to do the Vegas thing. It's reasonable to say that these are close events with big expenses. And she goes, you have to come because you have a free place to stay. And I was like, right, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, I have a timeshare and you'll stay with me. And so we did. And so we did the same thing. We went to the store. We picked up some stuff. Yes, we did go out. We ate out more for that trip than we did for the trip in Dallas because we were in like a home environment. And so we were doing a lot of driving back and forth. In Dallas, we were in the same building. So we just kind of were up and down the stairs. And it was a lot simpler to not spend the extra money outside. But it was terrific. And then we had the competition. Think about this, guys. The competition that we just had. We have the best company in the world that gives us so much generosity of ability and options, where we did the team challenge. And in the team challenge, we were looking to get the tickets, the $350 in credit toward a flight was the first place prize for each division. And we didn't win the division, so I had to end up buying my own flight, but we did come in second place and got $200 worth of free product for each person. That's still really awesome. That's a big deal. Excuse me. But there are ways to do it. So that's the bottom line is, and that was another thing we talked about. If you want to do something, put it on your calendar, because it's not real until you actually make room for it in your life. Put it on your calendar. Like I have the women's event on my calendar. I don't know. I'm breaking up every little bit. Okay. Maybe it's me getting excited and hitting my microphone or my hair. Can you hear me better now? Yeah. Okay, cool. And so I have that women's event on my calendar, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to get there, but it's there. That's the whole point, is needing to have it there as something in my mind. And a lot has to do with the subconscious of what you're thinking about and what you're dreaming and what you're planning. And right before I came onto this Zoom, my husband and I were doing some financial planning for our future and talking about what our expectations are for the future, for when we finally get to our retirement time, and what we have planned as far as, things we've set aside for the 401ks and all of that stuff. So you need to have a plan. You need to have that plan. Excuse me. So now, here's interesting. Okay. Because I was ambitious and hungry, I figured out a way to outlast the people who were less committed. And just like that top income earner had told me, excuse me, hold on. A little lozenge. Okay. Just like that top income earner had told me, my income continued to grow with every event. So makes sense, right? We need to keep it going. I started to feel different than everyone else. I started to feel like an Iron Man. Think about our Dr. Corey and what he has had to go through and accomplish with this Iron Man. And he was told to do it by a trainer friend. And actually, he wouldn't even call him his friend, right? He said, because he really doesn't like him very much, because he's kind of a mean guy. But the guys pushed him to a level of what he needs to be able to do to find that success, and he's accomplished it, which is a big deal. So if you're more committed than anyone else to attending the destination events, that all-important commitment will serve you very well. Once you're fully committed, the next step is to grow the number of people on your team that attend with you. Professionals understand that there's a big difference between being an announcer and being a promoter. Promoters make the event a priority in their group. They're relentless with their message. They tell stories that inspire people to action. They take nothing for granted and don't rest until people have registered. They paint a picture in people's minds about how great the event will be and the benefits of attending. Okay. And never buy anyone's excuse, at least in the beginning. Okay. He says that many people started off telling him the reasons they couldn't attend the next destination event, only to find out the reason was just an excuse and wasn't really true. The problem with amateurs is they buy this first story and that's the end of it. And it could be anything from I can't get off work, I can't afford it, I can't arrange childcare, who's going to watch my dog, there's a birthday party that weekend. And the amateur says, oh, well, it is what it is. I hope you can make it to the next one. The professional has a completely different mindset. When they hear an objection, they don't buy that story because they know it's probably not real, or at least not real enough. Instead, they work with that person to help them understand the meaning and importance of attending the event. They brainstorm with them to figure out a way to overcome the initial problem, right? Tell your story, don't buy theirs. And that's powerful, and that's hard because we do have stuff that comes up. We do have lives that are restrictive in certain ways, but your dream has to be bigger. Remember, the excuses can't be bigger than you, like Eric was talking about. The difficulties, the obstacles can't be bigger than you. They can't be bigger than your dream. Your dream has to be the biggest thing in your mind. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. You have to have faith and trust and push with everything you've got in order to achieve the success that you desire, right? So think of this skill as if you are a publicly traded company. And I think of Dave Brisky and how hard he has worked to make us to be publicly traded. Think about how your stock value is tied directly to how many people you have at each destination event. If that were the case, you'd make it a priority to always have a bigger number in the next event, wouldn't you? Right? You're going to make it be a priority because you know financially speaking, that the more you have at the event, the more income it's going to give to you. So you have to think of it in that tone. There's no such thing as a silver bullet in network marketing, but this skill is as close to it gets. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to add that, Doc Wallach is coming back to Charlotte on the 8th. And since me and Keith are doing these events, what I'm doing is kind of like the golden ticket, because they're going to be my free guests. The people I meet on Saturday, I'm going to be handing them that and say, I want you to be my guest, just so that they think, oh, wow, I'm going to be important to them, just to be, hear her doctor speak, whatever. But it's going to, that being invited, be my guest kind of thing, the, Beauty and the Beast thing. That's the way I look at it. But,
I'm singing in my head.
That's so Disney. But anyways, so, I know when I hand them that ticket, they're going to feel so welcome. They want, I'm hoping that's going to draw them in for the event on the 8th. So I just wanted that.
I love that. I think that's absolutely fabulous. Absolutely. So I can't wait. Oh, we both unmuted you. There we go. Okay. I think that's terrific. And that, yes. And that, again, it's a reward. It's something that is of value that you're providing that isn't going to cost you a lot, right? So you're investing time by investing time and effort in your business, and you're telling the people that you meet that they matter enough to you that you're going to invest in them even further. And if they're lucky enough, they'll have an opportunity. Now, if you have 20 people who want to go, oh my gosh, you're going to bring all 20. So that's what it is. But you need to make each person feel special, each person feel wanted and desired, and like they've got something really good. And so it's always a good thing to have a list, excuse me, where you can get a hold of people's contact information, of emails and phone numbers for a drawing, because everybody loves free stuff. And so that's the only time, and we've talked about this, it's the only time that I'll ever say give anything away for free, is something like that, a reward, a prize, because Nancy knows you get something, you win something, you're like, oh my gosh, you won it because they drew your name out, right? That's how it happened, Nancy? Yeah. So it's by chance, but oh my gosh, that's an incredible thing. She was talking about like $1,500 worth of product as a possibility for being drawn out from the next limited drawing. So it's kind of like you're buying that $1 million lottery ticket, and you now have more chances of winning because fewer people are in the pool, right? So it's that kind of a thing. You have to think about it in that way, and think about it the same way that each person is a potential lottery ticket for you. So every time you get one, there's a higher likelihood of something happen. And that's not to say the network marketing is a lottery ticket. It is network marketing. So we do have to work to get things to happen. However, it is, we are increasing the odds. And bottom line, if you want to look at this as a business and create a bottom line for it, you got to look at the numbers. And yes, there are people that are amazing and wonderful, and we need to create intimate relationships with them through the coffee shop interview and work through that. But you also have to have the other side of the coin of a business mindset and look at the numbers and say, okay, if I do this, so if I talk to 10 people, one person is going to join my team, or one person is going to buy product. I think the buying product is a higher percentage, but if you work on a rule of 10, so 10% is a really great response for, excuse me. Hang on. Is a really great landmark for you to work on. If you can close more on a higher level than 1 out of 10 or 10%, then you're doing very, very well. But a rule of thumb standard financially number-wise is 10%. So think about it that way, and think about what your goals are. How many people is it going to take? How many brick ranks will I need, right? So think about the bricks it'll take to build your business. How many bricks do you need to achieve that, what you said, Nancy, $10,000 a month, right? or doubling it to 20,000, how many would you need on a monthly basis to create that income as far as volume is concerned, the BV business volume that you get paid on, right? The QV volume, of course, is what your rank is attributed to. But if you can base that and look at that and go, okay, and if I know that there's going to be 10% of the people at that, whatever it is, 100 QV or something, or 100 BV level, think about how many people you need to expose to, and then create an expectation for yourself of the work that you need to do in the course of a month, a day, or a week. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And I think that's it. We made it. It's an hour. I didn't pass out. You guys didn't fall asleep. I've been getting a lot of requests for this to be moved earlier. I'm going to unmute everybody. Would you all, oops, hold on. Would you all prefer this call to be a little bit earlier in the evening?
Yes.
Yes?
I agree. Yeah.
Nancy, how about you?
Well, it's just interesting that you say that, because Paul Croto is wanting to move his till 9 o'clock at night, and his is at
8?
7.
His is at 8.
Oh.
Star School.
We could swap.
Star School is at 8.
Okay.
The Rev 90's at 7, and you're at 9. So there's like 3 of them right in a row on Thursday nights.
Okay. What if we did a Monday night at like 8 o'clock? And I'm just kind of throwing this up against the wall, but I'll have to check the powers that be and see if it's something we could do.
Well, why don't Paul was asking me directly, because I had posted that this was that this call was at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I didn't know Tom had a call at 9. And so I said, well, check with either Pamela or Marianne to see what the ongoing is, because I didn't know once we got done with GoPro if it was going to continue.
Yeah, and the only reason I picked 9 was because Marianne told me that Paul was at 8. So if Paul did 9 and I did 8, we could just switch.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe talk to him.
I will. Yeah, we're friends.
Contact Paul, and just because he had a couple other options that he was throwing out there as well, either a Monday or a Wednesday or a whatever, because he and Cheryl are wanting to expand their training and have so anyway, so he had a whole bunch of several different things that he was looking at for the new year or whatever.
Perfect.
And so anyways, so I didn't know what to tell him about ongoing more books or whatever.
I will reach out to Paul then and find out, and I'll talk to Marianne and Tom. Yeah, because it took a lot of meetings of the mind to try and figure out the available times that there were, because I didn't want to interfere with anybody else. What was already
because
going on.
Isn't at 8:30, isn't there 8:30 is the Susan Reasoner or whatever, there's another corporate call at 8:30, I think, on Thursdays.
Okay. On Thursday at 8:30? Okay. Well, Paul's is only half an hour?
Well, he doesn't always get done quite in a half an hour, so it overlaps into the other one. But there is a corporate call at 8:30 on Thursdays.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to do the research. But I've gotten a lot of requests that people enjoy the book club, but they'd prefer it to be earlier in the evening. So
yeah.
Let me see what I can do. And I try to tie it in for people that are in the other time zones as well, so that they can be here too, because it's tough when they're, we do something in the afternoon. We used to do a book club during the mornings during the week, and we found it to be very difficult for people to be there, because most of them, have a regular job, and so they're at work, and that really wasn't conducive. So, all right. So
what if we did it like right after Tom's Zoom on Tuesday, so we just kind of roll right into it? We'd still have same people.
We can't do that because Tom's Zoom, they roll into the live meeting they have in Longmont.
Oh, okay.
So I talked about that, and then they moved it earlier, but they moved it earlier because it became way too late to do that Longmont thing later in the evening.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
They wanted to move that up. So, but
there are just too many things to try to take advantage of, and it's all good, and it's like, wow, pick and choose.
Exactly. Okay. Well, we're going to stay with this format at least until the end of this book, and then we'll plan accordingly. I'll talk to Paul and Marianne and Tom and see what's going to work out best. But I love you all, and thank you so much for being here and spending the time with me. And we'll continue next week, same time for chapter 11. Anything worthwhile takes time. So we've now finished our 7 skills, and now we're going to kind of go into what else do we need to do. So, and that's how many more, actually, let me take a peek here. We have anything worthwhile takes time, and then chapter 12, it's all worth it. So we just have 2 more weeks of this book. And then sometimes I'll do a final review of the entire book and just go real quick through those items, and sometimes that's helpful. And then we're coming right into Christmas, so then we have to think about it. So we'll probably start a new book maybe after the first of the year. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
For you guys? Okay, so we'll do these next 3 weeks, and then we'll go from there. So you guys have a blessed week, and I know that I'll be in contact with most of you during the week at some way, shape, or form. So take care. I love you all.
You take care.
Thank
With
you.
that voice.
I know, my gosh.
Take care,
I
everybody.
apologize. Thank you so much, Shirley. You guys have a blessed week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
You
you.
too. Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.